Hey everybody, I have taken over for Kana today, and I have a man here who has gone from a disembodied voice to a henchman. He's been a mercenary, a doctor, a professor, a second in command, a godlike man, and then a zombie. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, and now a Japanese flying squirrel.
Now you are a Japanese flying squirrel. We should go ahead and give bonus points to everyone who can guess all those roles.
I was going through on my own head. I hope I can win.
So tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into the voice acting gig and everything. Let's just start off with that. Why not?
Voice acting gig in general or Funimation?
How about which was first, the chicken or the egg?
Oh, I was already doing commercial broadcast work before Funimation came along.
Really?
Oh yeah. I was in fact I was doing a stage play just in a little town outside of Dallas with a young 18-year-old actress who was I think finishing her first year in community college. That would be Laura Bailey. And
I heard Travis Willingham likes her.
Just a tad. Travis I met when he was 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah, he was a student of mine at Dallas Children's Theater, as a matter of fact. And then later on, I had Maxie Whitehead as a student.
Wow. You're like the mentor to all of the talent these days.
It's kind of funny. And they all just scatter now, Everybody goes everywhere. But I was doing a play, and the reviewer and I became friends, and he was doing an article on a company that was called Funimation that was setting up shop, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And would I want to, go out there? Would I want, him to mention me? So he did. And so I went out and auditioned in this little kind of abandoned open room at the base of a bank building that also housed people going in for going in for bankruptcy counseling. And
Right.
It was a little Tupperware table with Chris Sabat and Justin Cook. And then there was a whisper room, in the middle of this great big empty room, and auditioned for Dr. Giraud and another character on Dragon Ball Z. And then the rest is history.
So,
But that's where I started with Funimation. But I mean,
in the basement of a bank.
Come again?
In the basement of a bank?
Yeah, well, not the basement. It was first floor, I should have said.
Oh,
but
okay.
It was a basement. It was, it was kind of like, I think it was a partial warehouse for some of the tenants of the building. It was just a very strange circumstance. I thought I was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
In a bad place. I thought I should leave. Been tricked. But it's so funny that, of the two people that I was, working with at the time, where everybody is now. It's just really funny. And at that time there were about 30 of us actors, and now there's 500 or so of us. It's
Right.
It's really nice to have been able to stick around for this long.
Right. So you were kind of around in the golden years of voice acting. Do you have any? Can you share some experience from the pre not I wouldn't say pre ADR, but the early days of ADR.
Oh man, it's doing the Kai right now.
Right.
It's amazing how much faster and how much more fun it is to record. Because back then, literally, I swear we were working just off, a 1976 tape recorder. That's what it seemed like. It was just so slow and inefficient and would just take forever. One thing was that our sessions lasted a long time, so we got paid more. But it was excruciating for everybody involved because it just took so long to get work accomplished. Paper scripts, things falling everywhere. Oh, we re-edited that. I'm going to go have to print the next 100 pages off. Hang on a moment, Kent. 20 minutes later, we're ready to go again.
Wow.
And now everything's just so fast because everything's on screen. We've got QuickTime, and it's just fast. It's amazing the evolution.
Well, once Pro Tools was invented, I think ADR just became this amazingly quick process.
Oh yeah, well, and it's allowed Funimation. At that time, our only property was Dragon Ball Z, and then we were also recording Dragon Ball, and it took a while for us to then expand to Yu Yu Hakusho and Blue Gender, and then just on from there, and then open up new booths because we just had we were just a one room gig for a while.
Right. So can you tell me a little more about Funimation's like earlier days and how they kind of like evolved into the big company they are now?
Well, it was a low-rise building that did have a bank in the base, and on the same floor as Funimation was people going in for their Chapter 13 counseling, and
Right.
sometimes people would get confused and walk into Funimation, and
And they'd see these weird Japanese cartoons up on the screen and people with microphones, and they'd be like, "What's going on in here?"
They wouldn't even get that far. They would not even get that far. But it's interesting how, there were just a handful of people working at that time, and, most folks who are running the game, the executives, they were local guys. I think one guy had been a real estate appraiser, and suddenly now he was a producer, at Funimation. It's just funny how, people just, it was friends of friends of friends. I mean, at that time, we could invite, hey, you're a student of mine who I think's pretty good in my class. Why don't you go up and audition for Funimation, Or, wow, it was really fun having coffee with you at Starbucks. Why don't you come with me back to Funimation and audition? I mean, it was just really normal. And, now it's, it's so much more professional. And a lot of the faces, names have changed, and the staff have just, it's just multiplied. It's been really fun to see how it's all come about and where it all is, and wondering where it's all going to go.
Right.
We didn't used to record do any live action dubbing of, foreign films, but, now that's part of what we do at Funimation, and I love that. Still, just like in the early days, the disappointing part for us actors is that, we don't get to work together. We have to work individually, and it's not as fun.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of some sessions where there were actually voice actors all in the same room together, and they would play off each other, and it seemed a little more fun and more of an exciting atmosphere than just one person alone in the booth, with the director.
It is for us actors, but I bet it's also hard to control because
I'm sure
have a little too much fun. But and we'll buddy up sometimes when we do Wallace sessions. We'll have anywhere from 2 to 4 actors. All male, all female, or just a combo, and work that way, and that is fun.
Yeah.
I know that Tyler Walker, when we first did a live action, the very first one that we did, we all got together and did a read through. In fact, that's where I met Todd Haberkorn, and it was Brina Palencia. I met her at that same thing, but then we never did it again. Never did it again.
Oh.
But for us, it was gas. A lot of it stage training, so it's just more of what we're used to.
Right. So speaking of Todd Haberkorn, I was told to ask you about puppets.
Yeah, making our lives here in Big D in Artsport, Texas. I've learned to do a lot of things. I was going to go, when I was in high school, I was going to go pre-med, but boom, in a fluke, my senior year, second semester, this time of year actually of my senior year, I decided to audition for SMU and just went right into theater and then started working as a theater instructor and have just been doing that ever since. And along the way, I picked up skills as a puppeteer, mainly a marionettist, string puppets. And I also teach a lot of Japanese kabuki and stunt fighting. Those are my 3 main money makers. It's kabuki, puppetry, and stunt fights. And I've gotten Haberkorn to puppeteer with me.
Yes, I was actually given some link or something at some point that I didn't actually go watch or whatever, but I was told to ask you about that. So can you tell me a little about that? Like what exactly you two did together?
Um, what we did together. Well, I mean, I've taken over a little marionette theater company here in the Dallas area, and we gig for the state, we gig for area malls, we go to a lot of schools and do shows like Wizard of Oz, um, Hansel and Gretel, Pinocchio, some little variety shows with a lot of trick puppets, puppets that like a snowman that's dancing to Ice Ice Baby, and its arms and legs and head come off and then come back together again. So I grew up the local amusement park, Six Flags. When I was a kid, I'd go out there and there were puppet shows going on. You'd actually go and sit down in a theater for about 30 minutes, and it would be black light, so that you're watching just the puppets. You can't see the puppeteers moving.
Right.
They're all in black. And then marionettes, and then some hand and mouth work where the puppeteer can see you. You can't see the puppeteer, and the puppet just goofs on you. They're called slander shows. So I grew up watching those for years and years and years, and now I work with those same people and get to use some of the same puppets. A lot of people who worked for the Sid and Marty Krofft. I don't know if you guys are even old enough to know like H.R. Puffin stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Puffin stuff.
Oh, you do know. Ooh, I don't feel so old.
Yay.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of puppets. In fact, I'm having to relocate a lot of them so that there's room in my home for the Habercorns to move in for the next 6 months.
Yay, Habercorns.
Yay, Habercorns. Yeah, Todd's my best buddy, and we've had a lot of parallels before we ever met. We both taught middle school theater in a local district, different times. We both went to, did our undergrad at SMU, very different times. Single dads, and let's see. Oh yeah, and we were both company members of a local stage theater company.
Wow.
And then we meet it, and we also work at Funimation. So it's been really neat how we've had all these parallels.
And then you just go up to each other. Who are you and why are you living my life?
But I don't have a cute little Asian mother like he does.
Oh. Well, now I want to meet his mother. Just to see. I'm terrible.
A big bowl of pho.
But so yeah, it seems like you have a lot of friends in the industry, and you said it was friends of friends of friends and everything. So
yeah. And I've been lucky to have a lot of younger people that I work with. I taught when they were kids, some for just a week, and some for a few years. It's kind of fun. Right. It's pretty fun. I think other people it might make them feel older, but to me, I just love it. Love getting to work now with people that I knew when they were children, and they remember me fondly. So that's a nice thing. I don't have any enemies.
Well, that's good.
As far as I'm aware of.
But yeah, it seems like the whole voice acting community is somewhat like everybody's just friends with everybody.
Well, that's because it's so small here in Dallas. This is a very small market. And I think when we here in Dallas consider ourselves very fortunate to have a company like Funimation, an employer here. We kind of joke that it's high profile, low pay. I mean, I have a lot of street cred in a fifth grade classroom because of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and all the Dragon Ball stuff. But we don't really get to go to the bank like people think. They want to look out in the parking lot and see your Porsche. It's just not there.
got a wad of hundreds in your pocket. Gonna go down the street. Drop a few G's on a new car. Ain't nothing to it.
A lot of things to keep that cash rolling in. But not everybody in Dallas who wants to work over at Funimation gets to do it. It's a tricky little gig.
Yeah.
The dubbing.
But it's worth it in the end, right?
I think so. I think it's a lot of fun. It's not fun when you go in to do a gig and your character gets his head cut off, something like that. And you haven't been told that you were going to die. You're expecting, to come back the next week.
Right.
Oh, man. Or, all the shows that you're on have wrapped and you're just waiting for the next set of auditions.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've got one show right now because everything else is just finished.
No, that's no fun.
It isn't.
We need to get you a few new shows.
I know. That's the fun thing is being able to go in, in a week and you're doing, a couple of hours on one show, more time on another. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
And it's hard too because you got to keep track of all those voices, all those characterizations, all those character relationships.
Yeah. Do you find that's like a hard thing to do? Is to keep track of like character voices and whatnot?
Yeah. Well, when you go into, start out a session, I don't get to play a lot of the leads. I play a lot of, I get to have a lot of recurring characters. So
Right.
my line count isn't as high as like the Havercorns and the Palencias and the Sabbats. But, and they, so they're having a lot more and more hours than I have, to get used to that character. And, I'll have to come in and get a reference, and before I jump back into it. I have to go,
Right.
oh, yeah, that's right. That's who I am, and that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Okay, yeah, I remember that from a week ago. Okay, let's go.
So it's a little more difficult if you're not playing like a lead character or someone that you're going in almost every day.
I can only
voice.
say that. I can only say that for me. When we were doing the Dragon Ball Z series, and I did started out with Dr. Gero, and then we jumped back to Dragon Ball, and I did Tao. And then we got up into later in the Dragon Ball Z before going into GT, and I started out as Supreme Kai and Elder Kai. So in the same session, I was doing Supreme Kai and Elder Kai, and then later in GT, all the other characters were showing up. Mariko, Gero came back, and Tao, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then when we do the video games, it's the same thing,
Right.
But generally, I always did one character, boom, we go back and we record the other character. I didn't try to jump back and forth.
Oh, I would not want to have to do that personally, but that's just me. I'd be like, wait, what does this character sound like again?
Right.
But yeah, so speaking of Dragon Ball and Full Metal Alchemist and everything, these are like rather big shows. Like,
Yeah.
how does it feel to be part of like these massive animes that everyone has seen, and whatnot?
Like I said, the high profile, I love it. That's a lot of fun to get, respect from folks, from fans. Yeah. I have, I'm in my 40s. I've got a lot of friends, my age, and they just think it's kind of weird what I do. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are not in the broadcast industry, I guess is what I'm trying to say. One in particular who's a home mortgage lender, and he just thinks it's nuts. So he'll give me a call if he knows that I'm at a con signing autographs because he just can't imagine what that would be like, or doesn't believe me, one or the other. I don't know.
What autographs you?
I know. You're such a liar, Kent.
So
but now, thanks to an iPhone, I can make a little video of him like, this is me at a table with a Sharpie and a lot of people in a line waiting. I'm not making this up.
Right.
But it's fun. I mean, of course it makes you feel good, all those strokes. I mean, I don't think there's a one of us that feels like, oh man, I hate this. No.
I get paid to talk. Man, my life sucks.
Grr, yeah.
But yeah, do you have any stories from conventions or anything, or do you like have a favorite convention to go to or anything? Or are you going to any conventions this year?
I'm gearing up for St. Louis. I didn't get to go back to Baton Rouge this year. I was booked on another gig because I gig a lot on weekends, and of course that's when the cons are going on. But
Well, of course.
I'm getting to go to St. Louis, and I'm really excited about it. Because lately, let's see, in Tulsa, in Seattle, and I've almost said Calgary, but I followed Todd to Calgary, but I've been able to do my kabuki, and I love that. I love being able to go in, and normally I just work with kids, but now I get to work with, young adults and stuff. Oh, it's so much fun.
Right.
Hauling my kimonos and makeup and all that gear up, to another state. Love it.
Right. So, for those of us who are uneducated about what kabuki is, can you tell us a little bit about that?
What? What?
I'm not saying anything about how educated I am. I'm just saying we might have some fans listening who don't know.
It is traditional Japanese theater, Japanese drama. It's you can date it, roughly around the same time as Shakespeare creating his plays, and and it's similar to Shakespeare in that there were a certain number of extant plays, that were performed, over and over and over again. And, now there's other plays as well and other varieties, right. But it's a men's only theater style. The men play, all the characters, and the women, the onagata. And, but, when I teach it here, we kind of call it kabuki nuevo. So I get, little, if you can imagine, like little third graders in little kimonos and, kumadori face paint holding, giant bamboo and paper fans as swords and just running around stage acting crazy.
That sounds
adorable. I love it. So it's a movement style, really.
Right.
Theater.
But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to take a short break here on 918 The Fan. So we'll be back. Don't miss out on anything.
You need to cry. Let's brainstorm. I could hit you over the head with a wrench, or I could stab you in the gut with the knife. Knife wrench! Practical and safe.
Are you tired of crappy ideas that don't work? So are we. So we invented 918 The Fan. 918 The Fan. Everything you want to hear, nothing you don't.
Knife wrench! For kids.
And we're back from our break, and I didn't scare off our guest. Say hi.
Hello.
All right. If we want to, I don't even know what question I'm going to ask next. I haven't even been thinking about that.
Oh,
do you have any?
At least so far the talk has been really easy because I get people on Facebook. They'll send like, hey, can you answer a few questions? And then I get like pages and pages and pages and pages of questions to answers to which I don't know.
Oh goodness.
Very specific questions about very specific characters and specific shows that we wrapped, years ago, and I don't even think about anymore.
Right. And they expect you to know, like, all the background history of your characters and whatnot.
Oh, my gosh. And just be all about it. Yeah. So it's I got to be careful what I say, because it's interesting to hear. Well, anyway, I should shut my mouth. What other actors will actually say, and, how actors express their frustrations about fans, and, like, how do they not get it,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's two sides to everything, but yeah, I can understand both sides. As a personal fan of some voice actors, I used to maybe think that they would know, everything about the character because I would just figure that the company would give them, this like dossier on the character.
No.
But yeah, after a while, I kind of learned that sometimes it's just, here's this character's name, read these lines, and go home.
Well, yeah, or go back to whatever you were doing. I mean, sometimes I'm coming to Funimation from having done a stunt fighting class with some sixth graders on 30 miles away, and then I'm up at Funimation recording for a few hours, and then I go to a high school and do a little kabuki, and then I'm going to a rehearsal for a musical, in the evening. So, the day you got a lot of stuff going on.
Right.
And that next day is the same, and the next day, and then it's an audition or a commercial shoot. So it just changes all the time. So you don't really get to immerse yourself in it. I don't know if some people think that, as Funimation actors, that's, we're just dispatched, to go in and record in one thing, and that's kind of our day and our week and our month. But that's just not the way it works.
Right.
We're all doing so many different things. Like for me, the work at Funimation is, maybe a tenth of what I do for my cash.
Right. And that's actually something a lot of people don't really understand about voice actors is it's not that they're poor, it's just voice acting doesn't necessarily pay that well. And
No, au contraire, mon frere, it's that anime dubbing does not pay as well.
allow me to correct myself then.
The thing is the plum gigs are the radio spots or the TV and commercial VO spots that we all try to get what little there is in the Dallas market. And Funimation is just a part of that. Funimation is, for me, it's a nice filler because they're running the different booths all day, every week. And so when I try to schedule Funimation in between classes that are regular for me, or auditions, or shoots, things like that. So yeah, it's just one of the many things that we all do. I know that when I go to cons, I hear that same question all the time, and I hear the actors are answering it, the same way. This is just one of the broadcast jobs that we pursue.
Right. It's one of those things. Everyone wants to be an anime voice actor because it's such a high paying job, and it's
just not. You just can't make a living on that alone. In fact, a lot of the voice actors who are making most of their money at Funimation are also writing or directing,
producing.
Yeah, so they've found their ways into the other higher paying positions.
Right. Have you ever spent any time in the director's chair?
I used to, and I just don't talk about it. It's not a good experience for me. I didn't like it. The one thing I liked about it is I got to talk to other actors, but I wasn't very good at it. Actually, to be honest, I don't like directing adults on stage or voicing. I like working with kids. By high school age, I'm kind of done. I've done some college training, and it's just tough for me. I like junior high. That's my favorite age.
Yeah. I personally like kids. I'm not so junior high. I'm more like, I like the little kids. I like to if I could be a babysitter and it wouldn't be creepy, that would be great. But as a 23-year-old guy saying I want to babysit your daughter.
As a guy, period.
Yeah.
It's just creepy.
Well, I think when I was like 13, I babysat for some friends and whatnot. But I just love kids, and if I could work in a daycare or babysit or something, and it just, I guess the best thing I can do is just have kids of my own.
There you go. Start there. And then you won't want to be around anyone else's after that.
There you go. Just get it over with. So recently you did some work on a commercial. Is there any other recent work that you want to plug, or some future projects coming up that you can talk about that aren't under NDA or anything?
No, nothing. Nothing. I think worthy of mention. I mean, a lot of the stuff, some of the stuff, it's like, it's a commercial for a funeral home. It's a commercial for an electric company in Arizona. It's just different little stuff. We've had some of the, let's see, like The Chase, Lone Star. Some nice shows have come into town to employ people, and boom, then they're canceled. So we've had some, it's hard here in Dallas. Dallas and Texas are not so friendly to the industry. There's more film work going over to Louisiana and New Mexico, and or they'll skip Dallas and just go right down to Austin. So we're kind of in a funky spot here.
Well, that's that kind of stinks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now I can tell you that we were actually hoping to see it at the end of January, but Habercorn is going to be one of the leads in this awesomely horrible sci-fi original movie.
Oh, sci-fi originals. Everybody loves those.
Yes, but it's not for TV. It's for theatrical release.
Really?
Yes. So it's
I
a new
didn't
thing that
think
sci-fi
they
is
had the
trying to
button.
do. They're still so trying to do it that it hasn't been released yet.
Oh,
It
that's
should come
going to
out
be
before the
interesting.
summer, so I am really looking forward to it. I've seen some trailers from it that he showed me, and it is dreadful.
Really?
Wonderfully dreadful.
Now, can
But
you tell us the name of it, or?
I can't remember if it's Scream of the Banshee or Cry of the Banshee, one or the other. It has to do with the Banshee. And I know
Okay, as long as it wasn't Sharktopus.
Lance Hendrickson in it. And I'm excited about it. Of course, I've said all that, and somebody's going to call the police on me in a minute for having said it. But I don't
Of
think
course,
so.
but it's sci-fi. I don't know what they'll probably love the publicity.
They should. After having witnessed the quality of that. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the sci-fi on the weekends. I always check out what's going on, and I am really looking forward to seeing Todd on that.
On the big screen in a terrible movie.
He actually lives to the end of the movie.
Oh, does he?
Yes, he makes
that
it.
That is rare for a sci-fi.
Absolutely. We thought the Asian was going to go down, but no, he survived.
Oh man. But yeah. So other than plugging Todd,
well, he's the one. I feel like he has a much more interesting life than I do. He's been doing the broadcast stuff for quite a while, and I started back about a couple of years ago. I actually ended up just going Funimation just on a fluke, but now I had to surrender that to my agent. There's a lot of us at Funimation who have the same agent, and a really good one. But at first in town, they're like, anime dubbing, Funimation, are you kidding me? Why even bother put that on your resume? But now it's a much bigger deal that if you get to go out and record, and it's really respected as an employer now, as it should be.
That's good. As long as we can get it a little more respected in the American industry, the anime itself.
Yeah.
Because I still feel that a lot of people nowadays don't really look upon anime as I don't know.
I think they were considering it the pet rock, kind of the 90s, and of this last decade, but they thought it was just, come about and then go away, but clearly it has not. And, there's just more and more work coming about. Everybody thinks, oh, well, this is going to be the last year. And no,
right.
There's still a
anime
ton
is
of
actually
interest.
Coming out of a little bit of a scare now, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, thank goodness that, the whole industry didn't just shut down.
No. And other houses, had to, because a lot of the Houston people have relocated up here in Dallas, and they were coming up here anyway to work, but now they really need to be up here.
Yeah.
And, others going out to California and working, and that's great, and then still come back here, so.
Yeah. And I'm happy Funimation sort of survived strongly, because between you and me, Funimation's my favorite.
Oh, good.
Yes.
We funny folk think so too.
Well, good. But I think we're running pretty long here, so we should probably end this. So. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Just as well. This has been a blast. I appreciate it.
It has. It's been a blasty blast.
Good.
But, So before we let you go, we have two things. One is, do you have a Facebook, a Twitter, or God forbid, a MySpace that people
I used to
can...
have a MySpace. I don't pay attention to it. I am so non-computer savvy. I do have a Facebook page. It's just me, Kent Williams. It's so easy to find. And I see my little shot there right now here. It used to... But on there, you'll see me with actually a puppet on my hand.
Speaking of puppets.
Yeah. I puppeteer the mascot for the Dallas Museum of Art, so it's a little picture of me doing that. But and then somebody from out of actually, I don't know where she is, out of Tulsa or St. Louis, but started a little fan page for me. So I think I have almost 300 fans. But I friend everybody on Facebook, so that,
All right,
I know
cool.
sometimes
We'll go
it's
ahead
like
and,
you have to have a different persona or a different page. I'm like, forget it. Just
Yeah.
everybody come. But yeah, free to connect to just Kent Williams.
Do you have a personal site or anything?
Oh, I have La Theatre de Marionette is a site that I'm hoping to improve, but that's my puppet theater. But no, nothing that's just, touts me.
Oh, yeah.
Just tell people like, go to Anime News Network, or actually, if you go to IMDb, you'll have me and 2 other Kent Williamses combined.
Well, you have the power of 3 then.
Yes, and boy, trying to pry, those credits apart is just ridiculous.
You think that, you, the actual actor, would be able to do that.
Well, no, Kent is not such a common name, but somehow Kent Williams, there's a few of us. I was nearly extradited to Louisiana when I was in high school because of a James Kent Williams with my same birth date.
Oh, wow.
Had stolen something, and it's amazing. I've actually been held up at my kid's high school picking him up for a doctor's appointment because my name and birth date matched that of a sex offender in Florida.
Awesome.
Albeit he was African American and I am not. It still meant that Dallas police held me for 20 minutes at my kid's school.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous. But yeah, so there's another Kent Williams out there. One's a couple of them. One's an actor and one is a visual artist, a painter. So we seem to all be combined.
Well, there you go. You should start the Kent Williams Club of creativeness.
There you go.
Alliteration
I
there.
just to claim all of it. So now I have been in the movie War Games as an adult while I was a child. So
That was a good movie.
I remember watching it as a kid.
Right. Well, maybe you saw the other Kent Williams somewhere in the movie.
I know I did.
Well, there you go.
I know. So when you look it up and you see credits of me for in Hill Street Blues, not me. I was not old enough yet.
Right. But our other tradition before we let you go is we ask everyone who we interview if they want to do a radio bump for us.
Radio bump? Tell me what you mean.
Yes. Well, what we do is we have the person that we're interviewing say, my name is, you insert your name, I do this, you insert what you do, and you say, you are listening to 91.8 The Fan.
Oh, awesome. Ready?
So I am ready whenever you are ready.
I am Kent Williams, and I am a voice actor from Funimation Entertainment, and you are listening to 91.8 The Fan.
Perfect. we didn't get any mess ups, and that's why we do it live on air is for the mess ups.
And I kept it clean, right?
Yes. But everyone seems to celebrate when we tell them they did a good job. And I go, thank God I didn't mess up.
No, this was fun. This was easy.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for coming on the show, and it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for holding out for me. I'm such a jerk for having just all sorts of
all sorts of work, sorts of work and money making.
All sorts of work, but also just forgetfulness.
Oh, that's okay. We're pretty forgettable people.
That's not true.
I know. I'm
just important for all of us, and we need this. We actors.
Well, thank you very much, and it was
Welcome.
a pleasure having you on the show.
All right, you guys.